Got a very noisy Samsung dryer. This is the model number DV42H5600EP. Now this customer bought the Samsung dryer rebuild kit, so I'm going to be replacing the belt, the pulley, and all the wheels,
as well as the dryer drum belt seal.
I want a little bit more room to work on this dryer, so I'm going to move this washing machine out of the way just a couple of feet. Unplug the washing machine. And I'm going to remove the drain hose. There might be some water that comes out of this, so I'm just going to set this under my work bag. I need to remove these two Phillips head screws on the back. I'll pull this top piece back towards myself and set this out of the way for now. Remove the control panel. There are plastic tabs that hold this in place. I'm just going to work this evenly. Remove the wires from the control panel. There's a button right here. It's kind of hard to see. Just push down on it to unhook. Same with this one. There's a button you got to push on the bottom towards the wires. And then you never want to pull the wires. You always want to pull at the Molex connector itself. There's 4 Phillips head screws up here on the top that have to be removed. Remove the filter. Remove these 2 screws right beneath the filter. We're going to slowly pull this bulkhead back. There's a clip. It kind of holds it together right here. Be cautious of the wires that are behind this. We will have to unplug them before removing the entire bulkhead. Sometimes appliances need a little bit of gentle convincing when making repairs. Here's our door switch. We'll have to remove this connector before pulling the bulkhead out. There's no buttons on this one. It's just a straight plug. And then lift up. Now we can remove this pulley. And we'll clean all this lint up before we put everything back together. Remove the plug for the moisture sensor. This one has a button you got to push in. Remove this cover, this panel right here, 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one extra one that I missed right here. One tip is I set the screws in order of which I removed them, so there's no confusion on where they go when I put everything back together. I need to get these wires out of the way. Now it's time to remove the dryer chute. 1, 2, and 3 Phillips head screws. Pretty clean chute. Remove 2 Phillips head screws on this side, 2 on this side, and this will allow us to access the dryer drum. Here you can see 2 of our wheels. Actually, one of them it's just not there. It's completely missing. There it is. Right there. I need to get this belt off the pulley. I'm going to reach my hand in here. This pulley needs to be pulled down and then the belt can be removed from it. And now we can lift the drum out. sliding this belt over because it's getting hung up on something. And this is held in by one screw. The pulley is held in by one screw. And then remove this clip from the hole. They give us a new screw, but don't give us a new spring, so we'll have to reuse the old spring. That's okay. Make sure that screw sits all the way in there, and when this pulls up, it hits that belt switch. Let's swap out these wheels and twist to the left to remove the wheel. And there is a nut, I believe, on the back of this you'll have to grab. So I'm just reaching my hand under, and I don't want to lose this nut. And the washer right there, that's going to have to go behind there when we put the new wheel on. Here's our new wheel. Take off that cover. And you want the this washer's kind of grooved. You want the groove going with the groove. Just like that. All right, I've got the washer over the thread. And this is probably the hardest part of the entire job. And I'm going to use a flexible ratchet, 11/16, to grab that nut behind there. Here's the front felt seal, and you can see that it's pretty much non-existent. This is where most of the noise is coming from because it's metal rubbing against metal, and it probably wore like this because of that broken dryer drum wheel. So it's best to replace at least the front seal when doing a repair like this. The back felt seal looks pretty good, so we decided not to replace this one. To remove the old felt seal, just get something sharp to cut it in half, and then you can scrape the rest off. I was able to pull most of this off by hand. Now I've got my new felt seal, and this also came with some glue, but what it doesn't come with are these clamps, which make this repair very easy to do. And the more clamps you have and the stronger the clamps are, I think the better that it turns out. And this glue, they give you lots of it. You really have no threat of running out of any of the glue. So what I did is I first put down the 4 clamps just to hold the felt seal on, and then I glued in between while putting on the clamps in between each of the original clamps. And I just went all the way around and made sure to smush down that felt seal. And then once it was smushed down nice and flat onto the glue, I would go ahead and clamp it while gently rotating the drum on the ground. Now I've got a total of 10 clamps here, and I'm gonna let these clamps sit on this dryer drum for 24 hours before I take them off and reinstall the dryer drum. It has been 24 hours, and it's time to put this all back. Now we know this is the front. When putting the belt on, you want the groove sides to go over the drum, so that's what we're going to do when we set this in. And line the belt up with the old belt mark. Just like that. And then the drum should rest on the wheels and this top groove. And it should stay there on its own. Now we need to put the belt back onto the pulley. This is one of the trickier parts, so go ahead and bookmark this. Got our belt installed, and I'm just going to line this up with the old belt mark again. Give it a turn. And make sure that it stays lined up all the way around the drum. Now we just put everything back together in the reverse order that we took it apart, and that's easy to do because we are using the screw method where we keep the screws in order. When putting everything back together, using the screw method is helpful, but just make sure that you're not pinching any wires when assembling everything back together. I did err a little bit right here where I had to loosen a screw that I had already tightened just so I could get the wire back out. Dryer is now going. Most of the noise seems to be gone, if not all of it. Definitely way better than it was. I'll leave a link in the description to all of the parts that I used to rebuild this Samsung dryer electric. Hope this helps some of you out, and thank you so much for watching. My name's Dave. See you on the next fix.